And action. Welcome to another incredible episode of the Action Podcast. And today we have a few movies on slate. We have Trap, the new movie starring Josh Hartnett from M. Night Shyamalan. I don't even think I'm saying that right, but oh well.
That's right.
Yeah. Next, we'll watch Harold and the Purple Crayon, starring Zachary Levi and Lil Rel Howery. Then
The best.
Then we have a new film on Netflix called Find Me Falling, which stars Harry Connick Jr. And then lastly, we'll watch Kneecap. And I don't know anything about that one.
That's Michael Fassbender. It's an Irish.
That's right. Yeah.
Can't wait to get to that.
Yeah. So let's get into it, Pete. Trap. I know you're a big M. Night Shyamalan fan.
I'm an early M. Night career fan for sure. And then, he kind of does stuff sometimes where you don't know really why he's doing it. Now, Trap is so the trailer is right on for like the best part of this film. I think that Josh Hartnett crushes this role. I think he does a great job. I almost wish that you didn't know he was the serial killer until the end, like a typical M. Night movie. I mean, that's just like a wish list kind of thing, but you get to experience this unease through the eyes and the point of view of this serial killer, which is really quite well done. And to have it in this setting at a concert, which I found out recently that's his daughter, who was the performer. Yeah. And she wrote all of those songs and performed all those songs.
Yeah.
And those songs,
I think they've been like planning on this movie for a while. I don't know all the details, but
I got to tell you, like it was like they were at a Taylor Swift concert. Like the music is awesome. It's everything that you would hear on the radio that's popular nowadays, and it's really good. She's got a great voice.
I thought she acted well too.
She did great. I think once they leave the concert, there's still a lot of positivity to it.
I guess we should spoil alert. Spoiler alert. Are you gonna?
Well, it's not all set at the concert. Is that really a spoiler?
Kind of.
I guess so.
All right, so spoiler alert, just in case.
Spoiler alert, in case you just heard the last 15 seconds. Spoiler. But yeah, and it just kind of dropped off for me at the end. I still think it's good. I think that everyone is going to have a great time watching this just because of the experience of this film. But yeah, the home run in this movie is Josh Hartnett. He just did a great job.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think overall the ride and the journey was satisfactory. I was in it the whole time, trying to figure out where it's going to go, or, I think part of like,
how's he going to get out?
Well, it's kind of like when you go against a good pitcher, that's got a really good curveball, and, but he doesn't end up throwing you the curveball. But because you're still scared of that curveball, you're still kind of wondering when that curveball is going to happen. And he doesn't throw it, but I think that's part of like the tension, is because you're like, well, it can't just be this, right? It's got to be this. So in a way, there's a little bit of a psychological warfare going on that works because M. Night does throw such a great curveball. But I think he was still able to succeed without necessarily doing these transformative curveballs. I still think he was able to effectively tell the story that he wanted to. I think, again, this is a unique film and something we hadn't seen before. And I like the premise. And for me, that was what made me want to see it. Like, I can't argue your last point in terms of, did the ending necessarily, was it so amazing or whatever? No, but
it almost doesn't matter.
It almost doesn't matter.
It's really well done.
The brilliant
part about the concert setting was that it really did, like, if you're at a concert in real life and you're walking towards your seats and your seats aren't that great, you're not necessarily seeing like the performer close up. Really, it's all about the jumbotrons, and then it's like as you get closer to the stage, then you start to. It was beautifully shot. Like you
Yeah.
really did feel like you were in a concert setting the entire time.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah. I enjoyed it overall. I
Me
recommend
too.
seeing it. Yeah, no real complaints on my side.
No.
Awesome. Next, we have Harold in the Purple Crayon. Like I mentioned, the stars Zachary Levi and Lil Rel Howery. This is based off of a children's story that they kind of made into a bigger film. Pretty much, I guess, kind of like a Curious George, or I'm not too familiar with Harold and the Purple Crayon, like the backstory of it. But I'll go first on this one, Pete. I'm actually kind of curious to hear what your opinion on. Um, this is definitely, I think, a kid's tonality movie, right? I don't think that's necessarily a huge shocker, but I don't even think it
Wait, a
necessarily.
children's book made into a movie is aimed at kids?
Well,
Get out.
like like Lego Movie, for example, right? Like Lego Movie, I think
Yeah,
is
but that's a toy.
really entertaining
No.
for adults. I think. I I didn't think this movie was bad, but if I didn't see it, I would not have been upset. And I think, but I would say I saw it in the theater, so I think, I did think it got good reactions. Um, yeah, I don't know. It didn't really move the needle a lot for me.
Interesting.
I didn't hate it. I didn't, like I said, I don't think it was bad. It just, I don't think it either. I didn't think it was either funny enough or, strong enough or emotional enough. Like I just felt I could have pushed more. I felt it was very kind of ho hum.
Yeah, I mean, I could see where, if you were developing this script based off of a tiny, tiny book, I could see where, we could add comedy here. This is an opportunity for comedy, or this is an opportunity for a little bit more heartfelt moments. I I found myself having a great time in this film. I did not see this with my kids, but I'm sure that they would absolutely go bananas for this movie because it is imaginative. I mean, it's a really original idea,
Yeah.
um, and
I
and
like I like the idea.
I thought that Levi crushed it. Like he's another one of these actors that can not only do playful and childlike, but he can also do comedic, and he can also be very serious and dramatic and
Yeah.
emotional. He reminds me of a young Tom Hanks in like Big, where you could get this amazing actor who can play a kid as an adult. Like not a lot of people can just do that as well as Tom Hanks did. Not to say that nobody could have played Harold the way this guy did, but I think that what he did with the role was quite good. Um, I
It like to me this was like a poor man's elf in a way, and I just felt, and then this is again, I like Zachary Levi also, so this is not a knock on him by any stretch.
no,
I just felt like I said it could have pushed the envelope more
sure.
in either
I
direction.
wasn't a fan of the villain, to be honest. I mean, I liked that the villain wanted to take over because of, he had his own aspirations without spoiling anything.
Yeah,
Learned my lesson from the last review.
yeah.
However, I know that actor. He was in what's that movie with Steve Carell and Paul Rudd, where Steve Carell plays the dumb guy. Uh,
He's shot at the Concord.
The Schmucks. Dinner with Schmucks.
Yeah,
He's in that movie briefly, and I thought that he was so funny in that movie for like two scenes. Um,
he's fighting the Concords though. That's what I think most.
yeah, he is Flight of the Conchords, and he's great. He's really good. I just didn't like the character that much. I also, and this is no offense, I thought that Zooey Deschanel, like who I've always really enjoyed because she's got a beautiful voice. She's got stunning eyes that are very kind of hypnotic. I don't know what she did to her face.
I thought it was
Like,
her sister, to be honest.
is it?
No, it's not. It's because I remember I wanted to look it up. You're right. It's so Deschanel.
Because she did something that you're not supposed to do. She touched her face.
Yeah.
You could do whatever you want to your body. Ladies, don't touch your face. And I remember the first 15 minutes of the movie, I'm like, that sounds like her. And then at certain angles, it looks like the old Zoe. And but then like straight on, it's just
That's
like,
why I
what are
thought
you
it was the
doing,
sister.
man?
That's
Like,
why I
what are you
thought it was the sister.
doing?
Yeah.
It was distracting, to be honest. But I got to tell you, I enjoyed this film and I had fun with it. They will make more of these
I think
movies,
you
I
actually nailed
guarantee
maybe
it.
why. I think you nailed maybe why that what's what took away from me because it was the same thing with like Jennifer Aniston. You just talked about that other movie with Nicole Kidman and Zac Efron, where their faces are just like
It's
they're
an epidemic.
yeah, and it takes away from the emotion and like you're just focused on that as opposed to like in the journey
Plus,
with
her character could have been pushed. I would have liked to have seen more of my man El Rey because he's just so funny. I think that if they would have let him be more than just a secondary character, just to let him go off a little bit more, it would have added some real comedy to it. However, I really enjoyed this film and I had fun with it because I love original ideas and I love taking these kind of children's books and turning them into something
yeah.
like this. It's just really well done.
Like
Good time.
we'll move on because I don't want to obviously be on. Uh I'm glad you liked it. Like it got a 5.8 on IMDb. But again,
I'd go a little bit higher. I'd go 6.3. I'd give it. There's certainly stuff that could
I'd
be
say
worked
six.
out, but
I'd say six.
I
Um,
enjoyed it. All kids are going to enjoy it as well.
yeah. But like again, like we just saw If, and I think when I talk about adding emotion and pushing the envelope on everything, and now obviously I'm assuming that's a little bit a higher budget, but my point
Yep.
is that movie I thought really pushed emotions and all that, where I thought this one again kind of held back a little bit, but there's some really funny moments. I actually like Gary, and there he did make me laugh a few times. Like I liked his character. I almost again, like you're saying, I felt like he could have pushed it more, because he had some
It
cool.
felt very safe, this movie. It felt safe.
That's probably it for me, Pete. That's probably it for me. I
Yeah,
think
it's
this movie was
safe.
just too safe for me, and I know it's a kids movie, but again, like Neverending Story was technically kind of a young
This had
adult.
the opportunity of being like a never-ending story meets Big meets,
Yeah, like just push.
another awesome kids movie
I think they played it
that
too.
adults love.
That I think you nailed it. I think you nailed it. They played it too safe. Good job. You nailed what actually
This is
what.
what I do. I just nail stuff.
Yeah. All right. Next, Find Me Falling. This is on Netflix now. It stars Harry Connick Jr. We'll talk real briefly about it, and then we'll spoiler and go into it. This is just a spoiler movie today. But uh, do you want me to start first, or do you want to go first?
You can start first with this one because then I'll wrap up with Kneecap.
Okay, perfect. So I went in this movie, I would say tepid at best. But I am a big Harry Connick Jr. fan, and I think that's ultimately why I clicked the button. This wasn't on our radar, so I probably easily could have skipped it. But
Yeah, it
you know,
just came up out of nowhere.
yeah, but I saw it was, kind of takes place in Greece, Harry Connick Jr. I'm like, all right, I don't mind going to Greece for an hour and a half.
With Harry?
And
No, all
and
day.
and I really like how the movie starts. And um well, let me just say this. I really enjoyed the movie. Go see it. Now,
I
spoiler.
really enjoyed the movie, and you should go see it.
Yeah.
Spoiler.
Again, it's on Netflix streaming. I think it's a great date movie. I think you can even kind of see it with your kids. I felt like it was not crazy.
Let me give my summary. Ultimately, this is a very lovely family romantic film. All of the cast are great. It's a bit cheesy at time, but who cares? It's a
Yeah.
nice, fun story,
And the music's fantastic too.
and the music's great.
So let's get into it though. Spoiler it, because this is where I really think the movie did a good job. And I think so
A lot of curveballs.
Harry Connick Jr. is a rock star, and he's basically just trying to, retire, if you will. He's kind of lost his magic, and he's in the second kind of career of his life or whatever, or at the second end of his life. And I really like how it kind of gets into the story where he's just obviously kind of wants to be left alone or whatever. And then the place he picks happens to be this popular popular spot where people like to try and commit suicide. And so right away, it's like interesting. You're like,
Oh,
okay,
wow,
like
that's kind of dark,
yeah,
but
kind of dark,
cool.
but they did it really well. It was funny. And
It's
then
interesting. Yeah, and it
yeah,
was funny. There's a
yeah,
lot of comedy in this movie too.
yeah. And then they go into kind of like the Greek cafe, and and then you see this the female, and she's singing, and she blows it out of the water, like amazing singer. And so you kind of see this like, oh, maybe it's a romantic comedy, maybe it's going to be between these two. And the story kind of keeps progressing, and then you realize, so the other part which I love, and I always love this about any sort of musician or old actor, or is when you always get the like whatever made them a star in this world, and it's usually like a fake song or a fake movie. And I always love this. Like for me, it's definitely something I want to do is get into that world where you get to make a fake movie. And that's like, kind of like and Forgetting Sarah Marshall, how they always show the trailers for the TV show and all that. And then what's his name, Eldest Snow, and he has
Yeah.
his song that makes him famous, Inside,
Yeah.
you know so
Yeah.
he has his song, and it's Girl on a Beach, and it's just this like super poppy song that you think is just, you feel like it killed the soul of the guy that wrote it. At least that's what it sounds like, in the way they kind of set it up with Harry Connick Jr. And Harry Connick Jr.'s crazy musician, jazz, like, so I loved already
Big
that.
band.
Yeah, so I already loved that aspect of it. And then then they kind of twist it and realize like the former his basically he wrote this song because of this woman he met in Greece. And
Which is why he's there,
yeah, so you realize
not
it's
to
kind of,
escape. He was there for a reason. He went there to reconnect with the woman that he missed out on because, he was a rock star and she
yeah,
was not willing to live that life.
yeah.
But then, go ahead.
Well, and then you get to hear the beginnings of a song that he's writing. And this is where I think for me it really like got me into it. Was the song is fantastic, and it's Find Me Falling, which is obviously the theme or the title of this movie. And the song is really good.
Yeah.
And like for me at that point, I was like all in. Like I was just gonna watch like 20 minutes of it to see if I was like remotely into it. And at that point, like I was just like fully locked in. And so
And
yeah,
so this younger girl that he befriends, and she's like delivering groceries or whatever. Unbeknownst to anybody, she ends up being his daughter, which he never knew about. And so each time you think like you're getting comfortable with a scenario in this movie, they throw another curveball, and it's not done poorly. Like, sometimes
yeah,
movies, they just like
not
throw stuff
clunky.
in
Yeah.
there and it just doesn't really make sense. This was fairly smooth, with all of these curves, if that makes sense.
Oh, for sure.
And there's a few more in there that, go and see. Go see it like right now. It's on Netflix. It's easy to see,
Yeah.
and it's not very long, and it's really well done. Harry does a great job, and so does the entire cast.
And it's just like I said, a kind of a solid feel good movie. Um, it's everything that's great about movies. I think this movie is great for its genre, and I really enjoyed it. Like, this is a movie I'll probably watch again and again and again multiple times. Like, I think it's that good. So good job,
Yeah,
Harry Connick. I want to see more stuff from you. Great job.
we've
All right,
missed
Pete.
you.
Now we're gonna wrap it up with Kneecap.
Kneecap. Oof.
Curious to hear your movie on this one, or your.
This movie is awesome. It got a 7.6 on IMDb, and I might go a little bit higher than that.
Really?
So basically, the premise of this movie is that Michael Fassbender, whom we all love, is this not ex, but he's this Irish like revolutionary guy who basically people think that he died, even though he hasn't, and he had two. I think they're called like two sons of his, but I couldn't really tell whether or not they were actually his biological sons or if one of them was and the other one was the friends. So there's these two boys, who are all grown up, and it's like there's a lot of political aspects. Like the Irish people aren't allowed to speak their native tongue. It's like during that time period where like British rule was saying you guys can't talk your native tongue, and if you do, then it's like you're spitting on the queen's face kind of thing. So in order to be a revolutionary and to be somebody who's going to be against the system, you would speak Irish. And this movie's so funny. A lot of drug use. It's definitely not for kids. It's definitely not for young adults, really. But basically, these two kids figure out that they're really good at rapping in their native Irish, and they end up becoming like these sensations. I don't know if it's real or not, to be honest, because it really plays out like it was like a biopic. You know what I mean? Like that's the way it plays out. And Michael Fassbender's in it for, a few parts, and he's fantastic. And the two kids that play these sort of rap stars are just so good. This movie's crazy. It's insane, and it's I hate using this term, but it's high octane. You know what I mean? But it's powerful. It's fast. You can't help but just feel what they're talking about. And one of the biggest comedic things is that whenever they're talking in Irish, they scribble subtitles, almost like they're expecting you not to even understand a word that they're saying. So it's not like normal subtitles. It's just like it's all over the place. It's really beautifully done. I think it takes place in like maybe the late 60s, I think, maybe. And then it turns into more modern times when the kids grow up. Like, so, like back in Ireland, back in the late 60s and stuff, there was a lot of turmoil and a lot of violence, a lot of upheaval. And so this movie really captures pop stars meets like the most down and dirty, like Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels style, like dirty, filthy kind of movie with like the beauty of, I don't know, the Irish spirit. It's a fantastic movie. Like if you can see Kneecap, go and see Kneecap. It's one of my favorite movies of the year.
Wow. All right. Yeah. I'm interested in seeing it now because of your review, Pete. So good job.
And I try not to spoil a lot.
Yeah. No. Good. Awesome. Well, that's gonna wrap it up for us. Next week we have a few movies on tap. We have The Instigators, which you can catch now on Apple TV Plus. Spoiler alert, I've already seen it. I guess that's not a spoiler alert, but I've already seen it. So let me just tell you, definitely check it out. I think you'll like it. Next is, and that's it's with Matt Damon and Casey Affleck, two of my favorite actors, and then Doug Liman, who directed The Bournes and amongst other films. He's the director of it, but it's a very good movie. So check it out. It's on Apple TV now. And then next we have Borderlands. That's the new kind of movie based on a video game.
Right.
That stars Kevin Hart, what's her face? Jamie Lee Curtis.
Which I know nothing about, so I'm gonna go into this blind. Like, just show me a good movie.
Yeah, hopefully that's the case. I've not heard good things coming out of the internet.
Yes.
So I will do my obligatory watch. I'm gonna go with it in open arms, but I'm bracing, Pete, because it's the internet has not been kind.
Might be rough. Hey, never know.
Yeah, you never know. Other movies have been, lower and came out good. And then lastly, It Ends With Us. That's with Blake Lively. And I saw a funny little clip on Instagram where Ryan Reynolds was interviewing the star and director.
Yeah, I saw
and
that
he's
too.
like, "What the hell is this about?" And he's basically playing Deadpool in real life. It's awesome.
So funny.
Ryan Reynolds.
Can't wait for that. I love Blake Lively. She's one of my top one.
Yeah, nice. Well, you got some competition with Ryan Reynolds, so yeah. So that's gonna wrap it up.
He's slightly more good looking and successful.
Yeah,
and funny.
Please make sure you like, share, subscribe.
And rich. He's
check
rich
out
too.
Our other episodes. We've done Beverly Hills Cop. We've done the other reviews where we watch, Deadpool, Wolverine. Hear our review on that one. Our last Paul's old out-ass movie classic, Clute. So check those out. Again, make sure you like, share, subscribe, comment. You know, if you have some comment or thing to add on any of the movies that we talked about, or you've seen, you know, The Instigators, Borderlands before us, give a comment. We'd love to hear what you have to say, and we're good at getting back to you. So thanks for all that. And with that, Pete, that is a cut. Thanks, guys.